More than a quarter of a century ago, Brock Yates predicted the decline and fall of the American auto industry. The longtime executive editor of Car and Driver magazine and best-selling author sits at his elegant Wyoming, New York home now and watches what he warned of unfold. Well, 1983.
1983, a long time ago,
Decline and fall of the American automobile industry. You called it. You were ahead of the times.
Yeah.
You said that American cars were too large, too clumsy, couldn't compete with Europe and Japan. Do you sit here now and say, "I told you so"?
Yeah, it was seemingly coming, Carolina, at that time. Although Detroit was not dealing with it, it would take another 10 years probably before they really realized that the Germans first, and then the Japanese were coming so hard. They really didn't realize that this import business was as strong as it was going to be.
Yates blames that ignorance on the Detroit Mind, an insular group of executives not in touch with the real world. In Decline and Fall, Yates said there is one true lever to prosperity for Detroit and America: new corporate leaders of sophistication and strength. 26 years later, he says they have yet to be seen.
They all live in Grosse Pointe. They're all part of the. They all are in the same country clubs. They all live together.
So they're not necessarily in touch with what the everyday American.
No, not at all. Two different worlds.
Chrysler's in Chapter 11 bankruptcy right now.
Right.
GM is on the brink any day.
Yep.
Is that where they deserve to be?
Probably. Yeah, probably. I think they just stayed in their original status for too long. They didn't. They've been producing automobiles that have been the same year after year after year. Of course, they've got a massive collection of dealerships around the country that are probably half too many dealerships, but they had to spread the cars around, and it's just been it's just been about 20 years to beyond where they were strong. They've just not changed at all.
Because he's an auto expert, I had to ask him what he's driving these days. He has a Cadillac, he has a Jaguar, but when he wants to really let loose, he has these. It's no surprise race cars are his vehicle of choice. Yates has spent a good portion of his life racing, reporting from the pits. He even wrote the screenplay for the hit movie Cannonball Run. However, he says it's not speed the big three need to focus on, but rather efficiency.
They have to get more efficient automobiles. I think the car sizes will be smaller. I think we're going to go into much more lighter aluminum, more alloys. The cars will be lighter and more efficient. It's going to have to be that way. It's going to take some time, but I think we just can't have these huge automobiles
But it's been, 26 years ago, you said, too heavy, too clumsy, too large?
It still is, yeah.
If only they would have listened then.
Yeah, they weren't paying.
But again, you have an SUV.
Yep, we do, yeah.
So people still want them.
Yeah, to be.
In your book here, The Decline and Fall, what Detroit desperately needs is a new generation of automobiles that lead, not follow.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you think they ever reached a point where they were leading, not following?
I think they're starting. I think they will. We're not going to die. The Detroit will come back. I think with automobiles.
The big three still.
Well, that's maybe they'll spin off. We don't know.
Breaking out your crystal ball again.
Yeah.
And then I guess you used for your book. Say 10, 15 years down the road. What's your best guess? What will the American auto industry look like?
General Motors will still be in place. It's very possible that we lose several of their components. We'll probably have Chevrolet, we'll probably have Cadillac, but I think General Motors is going to change radically and probably be smaller. Chrysler, we don't know. Chrysler is, and Ford I think is going to be all right. Ford has a worldwide situation that's pretty strong. They've got very strong issues in Europe. I think Ford will be all right. They're not going to be as big as they were, obviously, but I think they're going to be okay.
Does America have a chance at regaining its leadership position, though? You know, they might be here in 10 years, 10, 15 years. They might be smaller, but can we be the leader?
Boy, that's an interesting question. I would doubt it. I'm not sure that we're going to actually destroy, you know, that it'll be destroyed. I think we will have an automobile industry. I think we've got an awful lot of possibilities, but they're going to have to change radically. We've got so much of our industry that's linked to it. We've got to make some. I think we're going to make it, but it's going to be changed. There's no question about it. And but I think we're going to have an automobile industry here.
As for what he'd say to his many critics in Detroit and around the U.S. over the years,
I'd say that I was pretty right, and they were wrong for quite a while.
In Wyoming, New York, Caroline Woods, RTT News.